Hey guys, what is going on, RedMaster, and welcome back to episode of Casting Conflicts for you today. We've got a great match lined up, so without much ado, let's go ahead and jump right in to match number one. Alright folks, and welcome back to the episode of Casting Conflicts here. This time got Jump taking on Beastly. We've got Jump rocking the Ninja Druid against Beastly's Druid Crusader. And joined with us, of course, as always, Slasher. Slash, how are you feeling about this matchup right now?
I always like to see the Zek Knight, classic purple, white, or Druid Ninja. From what I've seen so far, it's going to be a rampaging first strike with Kuro possibility, especially since we're seeing Arc Druid.
Dark Druid, Demon Hunter, yeah, just very blatant first strike focus being shown off here. Meanwhile, I think I actually have a clue at what Beastly might be running as well. He's been taking a Druid Crusader through the ladder recently, just focused on kind of not only aggression, which, you know, that fits his style very well, but also just being a pain with the health buffs, Blessing of the Trend, maybe even a little Bestial Rage. So a combination of just, you know, like health and cheap aggro kind of in the Druid Crusader here. So I don't know. Who do you think you favor in that perspective then?
I think Jump has a very, very strong start currently, and unless Beastly is running something that can something big against something like this Shadow Katana Demon Hunter we're about to see,
Right.
I don't think there's a chance for him. The start that he has is so extremely strong right now, and if Jump just goes for Castle, it's a 3-turn kill, and nothing that Beastly is going to be popping out is going to have 8 health or higher.
For sure. I mean, there is the possibility of Blessing, but even then, that does not provide the numbers to shut down this Demon Hunter. So we'll see if Jump decides to go for it. Looks like he's going to take the Katana route. He's questioning it. Yep, okay, so we're going to go for it. So here is the countdown on Beastly's end. We'll see if he's got a way to deal with it. Although, you have to remember, Beastly's also got a good chunk on Jump's castle as well.
I don't think he's going to be out damaging Jump here at any point. It's going to be extremely difficult to do against 9 damage on face. The Rammers didn't go through for him. Currently, Jump is still looking at killing here within 2 turns.
Right. So we'll see if he decides to go for the attack on Castle yet again. Trent's still doing a little bit of work in the back for Beastly, although we see that might be counteracted. I think Jump's deciding to go if he wants a wizard being thrown down here, or just going to question the castle damage. I do think he should take the castle damage in this case. Again, a huge chunk is going to be good, and I don't know if Beastly is going to run any sort of big heals in the deck. He might run hands, but I haven't really seen that in the list and in the game so far that I have seen of this list. So I'm kind of curious if he's got anything to kind of shut down this Demon Hunter. We saw Rammers didn't go through for him. He could have something like an Armory, though, or a Fat Bar. That could certainly turn the game around and kind of snipe off Demon Hunter. But already a huge chunk taken out of Beastly's castle. And throwing on the Wizard's Swiftness is even more of a devastating blow.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the game right here. Either Beastly has some way to clean up both the Wizard, kill Jump's castle, or clean up the Demon Hunter and Wizard. That it's something where either way, next turn one of these players is going to be dying or should be surrendering.
Right. So we'll see a Fat Bard. That's going to be the counteraction for Demon Hunter. We're going to see probably the Wizard take that trade. That does leave Spiny open. I think Spiny... No, that doesn't do enough to the Wizard.
Spiny could block, but Kuro would clean him up.
Yeah, and I think he's flashing that. Like, no matter what he does, it's going to be enough. And yeah, Trent going to move out of the way, looking like he's not going to get to the Wizard. There's a surrender, and Jump takes game number 1 in a pretty dominant fashion. The Shadow Katana Demon Hunter probably being the main reason he kind of closed out that match.
Yeah, for sure. I think that the biggest issue that Beastly ran into there was his deck was too slow to counter something, and he pushed forward and started trying to fight a damage war on face instead of pulling back and blocking, where he could have simply played another unit, blocked face, made it so that way it would be another turn until that Demon Hunter hit face. But instead, that push forward really Jump have all the maneuverability and just put himself right on face to win the game.
Right, yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. So with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and jump back to the players here and see what they're seeing after a game number 1. Alright, guys, and we're back after game number 1. Jump, a pretty dominant showing for you in that game, showing up with the Shadow Katana Demon Hunter. Tell us a little bit about your decision to kind of make that play here. What were you thinking in game number 1?
You know, if you can get first strike units out, they're much stronger earlier in the game as opposed to later when they don't have units with high enough health to deal with that attack. So getting them out at turn 3, there's nothing that I can think of at 3 cost that has more than 5 health. And since he didn't have any ranged units on the board at that time, it was pretty tough to deal with, and figured I would just race through the game. I'd do a classic base race, and I barely won it, but I did.
Certainly,
But
certainly.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what Beastly is going to counter with, because there are lots of options.
Now, quick question in regards to your deck. You mentioned there's not really much that that you could see in that early game range that can shut down your first strike, but I imagine your deck does have a pretty difficult time with burn. Because I was thinking when you made that statement, things like Wind Bolt and Blue Fire exist. So I mean, like, just
Yes,
out of
yeah.
curiosity, like, where does the deck
Sorry,
go
when
off
I
that?
was playing against white yellow,
Right,
you gotta always adapt your plan to the colors that you're playing against.
right, right.
That, but yeah, there are weaknesses in this deck, and I'm not gonna give out all the answers to how to counter my deck right here.
Oh
But
yeah, yeah. No, I was
we'll
just
see.
kind of
We'll see how it
curious.
goes in the next game.
For sure. And going on to the other side of things, Beastly, not looking too good for you in game number 1 here. Tell us what your thoughts were going, in that match. I mean, like, you saw the Demon Hunter. What was your immediate plan? Did you have one? Just talk us through it.
My immediate plan was just to take the tree and run it all the way up to his castle, and then stick it behind the castle so it couldn't come out and hit his range unit. That was my first thought, and that's what I did.
All right.
Yeah, that's
That was. Oh, you give me so much to work with here, Beastly. I guess. Well, another.
I did such a bad positioning job there. I thought I could lure a unit like to stay back, so that he wouldn't rush face. But then no, it was a wizard, and it had extra movement, and I didn't think about that.
Well, I mean, we were kind of wondering towards the later end of the game here, like, I mean, do you carry something like a Hand of the Saint just as an emergency tool in that deck? I mean, because...
No, I don't run any heal at all. That is that's... I run Crusader, and that's about it. Crusader and Priest.
Huh. Alright, well... fair, I guess. Slash, do you have anything
I
to
pulled
run
out the... Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, you have something to add? I don't want to cut you off.
I played Crusader. I was like, can I hit? Can I hit? No, first strike.
Alright, well, anyway, Slasher, you got anything for these guys before we jump into game 2?
Not really. I think it was mostly straightforward there, that match. I hope we both do well and we have a good second game.
Alright. So,
All right.
with that being said, let's go ahead, folks, and jump into game number 2. Alright, folks, and welcome back. Game number 2 underway, as, of course, Jump looks to bring back the Ninja Druid against Beastly, rocking the Warlock Ninja. Now, I have a sneaking suspicion on what Beastly could be operating with here, but, Slash, what are your thoughts that, in terms of what Beastly's got right now up his sleeve?
I'm pretty sure it's OTK or Rush, and that's going to do terribly against Jump's deck. We already see movement cards. We already see Masuda, something like early Beastmaster. He won't be able to monopolize that center square that he would hope to and put stealth on. It's going to be extremely difficult for him to realistically kill castle consistently against some deck that has movement. We're seeing, however, though, that Jump does have what seems to be a weaker starting position, he's going to have to sacrifice some kind of unit here to these double Salahar Riders.
I think he might.
Beastly is definitely getting the value out of them he hoped for.
Yeah, so the Flame Shield doing wonders, being able to take out what Jump thought was going to be his equalizer in the form of Were-Rat. Instead, now forcing maybe go with a Masuda to trade away into that 4 attack rider. He's considering lunging, which I don't. I don't know how I feel about lunging, because sure, you're gonna negate that 4 damage, keep Masuda alive that you kind of need for the early Beastmaster, but you're still gonna run into the last will here, which okay, it does connect to the tower. I think that's what he
I
likes to see.
completely disagree with that because we already know he runs Kuro, and
Right.
keeping those lungings and those alpha strikes in hand to keep Kuro around so that way he can get that bestial rage and he can get massive value out of just controlling the board in such a way that ranged units and even big units cannot come out. While he kept it alive and he kept 2 damage off the castle, I don't think it's going to be enough.
Well, we'll see. Pyromancer thrown out in Beastly after both riders seem to fall here. Jump going to consider throwing out the Wizard. A bit
He
more
has to have put it in
topside.
front of his castle. I think this is a massive mistake here, ladies and gentlemen. Beastly can cloak, put it straight in that center tile, and begin hitting face. However, though, I think Kuro will be a massive equalizer here and just shut down everything Beastly has planned.
Right, Koro going to be a bane of existence for the range units here. Once it goes down, very hard to detect, especially with range units. Of course, they can't really move around a whole lot. And with the movement that we know Jump is hiding within the deck, I'm kind of, curious as to how Beastly's going to be able to respond to a Koru.
What if Beastly is running Iron here? Red.
That would be a huge turn of events, I would say. Something like an eye being thrown down would definitely negate the stealth advantage of Koru. I don't think Jump would have too difficult of a time dealing with it, but I'd be certainly curious to see where that would go. We're going to see Koru now decloak, Darkbender going ahead and making the trade where killing off the wizard, excuse me. We'll see a trap get thrown down, which I'm kind of curious as to what it might be. Maybe he's bluffing with the Aiajutsu. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know that this deck runs traps.
I'm fairly certain that it is a secret dragon because that's the only card which you would actually get value out of if it hit Lumberjack or his Darkbender.
Right.
I think with Armory, however, no matter what, Jump's not going to be trading well. His Kuro is not going to be.
Yep, and there he goes.
Yeah, as we
into the
see
Secret
here.
Dragon. So it does give an interesting problem to Jump, I think, going into the match, or going into the later stages here. Did you have something, Slash? I feel like I cut you off.
He needs to keep his wolves back. That top wolf, I think, is a really bad positioning because now that Lumberjack can start searching for any burn that Beastly might have to kill off the Beastmaster. As you can see here, he's now searching for it.
Gonna take the Lumberjack draws. Yep, there's the Arcfire. That doesn't do enough, though, considering, yeah, he realized that there was a mistake there. Oh, a little bit of a taunting from Jump. Yeah, he didn't have the mage for Arcfire, so I think that was a bit of a misplay there. We'll see how Beastly's gonna open up, though, as a response. Does he have another burn, perhaps? Can he get this Green Drake on face? What's the plan here, Beast? What's the plan?
I think if he had another burn, he would have played it by now.
Certainly. Yeah, we're going to see the Wizard, which isn't really... knowing the Wolves and what it has, Jump has in hand, I don't think throwing the Wizard behind Green Drake is a good idea.
For sure. Additionally, though, if he had played that Wizard, he could have then killed off all those Wolves and none of this would have happened. But
True.
Ladies and gentlemen, order matters in the game.
Order does matter. So we're going to see Green Drake take a bit of a dip. That's going to...
Kuro Swiftness probably coming out here.
Oh, yeah,
what do you think, Fred?
Maybe. It certainly snipes off the Wizard. It leaves the Green Drake alive, but I mean, you're taking out Beastly's Equalizer here.
I'd already think that you'd want to have that Swiftness on your Kuro anyway.
True. Especially with things like Shadow Katana, you could start doing work to the castle, perhaps, in the next coming turns here.
And if there's anything like multi-strike, something like Armory plus Shadow Katana could be very scary for hitting Castle, getting up to 10 damage there on a Kuro plus a multi-strike. That is an OTK, ladies and gentlemen, which is absolutely what Beastly does not want to have happen to him, seeing as he is running an OTK currently.
Well, we're going to see Ambush get thrown down on the green Drake here. We can't see where it's going, of course, because we're in Jump's perspective here, so I'm kind of curious as to where BC could have hidden it. We'll see Masuda, though, be aggressive here. Pyromancer, somewhat aggressive as well, although that does kind of lead into the core that's above here. And yeah, there's a Swordsman going to do a great job in cleaning up the green
And
Drake.
Beastly knows that's the game.
Yep, that's going to force a surrender. That was his only chance at bringing back the game. So, yeah. What we thought was going to be a interesting position for Jump in the early game turned out to be quite the, I don't want to call it a steamroll, but certainly it turned into Jump's game the later we got into it.
The fact that Beastly could not get any force to fight back against the two Kuros, and that the Kuro was extremely quick, I think that it was a simple matter of units on the board, and all of the range units that Beastly had traded did not trade well enough for him to get a win out of this one.
Right. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump back to both players and see how they're feeling after game number 2. All right, folks, jumping back after game number 2 here. Jump, another victory, and that means a series win for you. How do you feel going up against Warlock Ninja in that second match? How are you feeling throughout that match in general? Talk us through it.
So the natural thing I do every game is predict what the colors mean in terms of what deck the opponent's playing. So usually Ninja's Warlocks, most common one is Awaken. So I'm thinking, okay, I need to make sure I develop early and push. But I don't think there was much Awakening in there at all. I think it was more of a sort of a OTK-ish deck, but kind of just good stuff OTK. Not quite sure, but I'm sure Beastly will be able to tell us. By the way, I just kind of played out my cards, got a little bit lucky with a misplay and a few good top decks. But
Right.
yeah, luck was on my side for that game for sure.
Well, I guess going over to the other side of it now, taking it to Beastly here, going with the Warlock Ninja deck. Do you want to talk us through the deck choice here, what your thoughts were as to how you would counteract this deck in this matchup?
Well, in my mind, I was thinking, I have two options. I can either go with OTK, which Jump was correct, that was an OTK deck. It wasn't good stuff OTK, that was just pure spam OTK. I just wasn't drawing any of the OTK part of it. But I could either go with that, or I could go with no interactions, which I think, honestly, looking back, I should have gone with the no interactions, because it got the board burn, and I didn't realize that he was going to pop out the Coors, which are not good for OTK at all.
Right.
When I played the burn, and then realized promptly that I didn't have a wizard on the field yet, I forgot to play it. That was the moment I knew things were not going to go so well.
So
but honestly, I think even if I had gotten the burn off, I think he would have gotten me in the end. I think I just kind of had to panic place my unit, so I moved the dragon up, and I was like, okay, he's not gonna. If he moves the wolf back, I'll just resign. But I have a chance to top deck a demonic rage, and that would be game. But he pulled out the swordsman, and I knew at that point that was going to be it.
Yeah, a big kind of cleanup in the end there, kind of left you with no options. So
yeah, no options at all. Yeah.
That's fair. Certainly fair there. So, I mean, that's all from me. Slash, do you have anything for both of our players here before I close out the video?
I'm always happy to see a Purple Druids and Ninjas Druid jet coming out, especially the variants Jump was playing. And hopefully we'll get to see more of it this season.
Right, certainly. So, with that being said, folks, let's go ahead and throw it out to my future self to close out this video. Alright, folks, with that being said, I hope you did enjoy this edition of Casting Conflicts. Let us know what you thought of the matches, leaving your thoughts down in the comment section below. And, of course, while you're down there, if you haven't done so already, be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it. Share with friends, of course, subscribe if you are new or haven't done so already. It is the best way that you can support us here on the channel. And, yeah, that's going to do it for me for now. So, until next time, guys, stay gaming.